Welcome to Board Game Empire. Today we're going to do a teach and then we're going to do a review, me and Amanda, of Astra. Now, the teach is going to be a fairly quick teach because it's a pretty easy game to learn, and so we're going to just jump right into it. So this is a set for a two-player game. You have your sphere board and sphere marker on top. You have your 3 cards. Now, I have them marked. Normally, you wouldn't have anything marked because I just have it for the teach. You have your ghost, and then you have your first player. You have your Stardust, Telescope, your final scoring. This is each final scoring is different. Like you'll have different X's already set up. You have your player board. You get 8 Stardust. Each player gets a marker. These are for later to teach, and you get your turn sequence, your player aid. You're going to have your deck. It's going to be 29 under. Then you have your game end after on top of the 29. Then you have 19, and you have a discard card. So the way you play the game is you're going to use Stardust to mark the cards, the stars in the center of each pretty much constellation. Now you can mark the stars, but you have to go from in a straight line. Once you get to the end, you can't continue. The only way you can continue is if you use a telescope, and the telescope allows you to move from one area to the next, and then it also allows you to move from one card to another card. Throughout the game, you're going to be moving the sphere marker, and so the sphere marker is pretty much every time you rest. And so as you deplete your Stardust, you're going to be resting to collect Stardust, and the way that you know how many Stardust you're going to collect is all determined on your pouch track. Now, your initial 8 Stardust you get at the beginning of the game pretty much does not count to that, because it is the 5 is how much you get in your rest phase. As your pouch track goes up through boons, then you'll be able to get more Stardust. Now, there are some cards that allow you to go beyond your maximum pouch track level, and so once you rest, you pretty much get the Stardust. Now, the sphere token will continue to keep moving from one icon each time you rest. Also, when you rest, you remove or discard a card from the deck. But that's only when you go from the water to the fire, and the icon's right here in the center. That determines when you discard. So you're going to keep resting, and then rest has many things you can do in the game, and affects the way the cards pretty much exhaust and activate. And so I'll cover that next. Okay, so when you win a card from completing all the stars in the center of the card, the constellation, you're going to collect that card. Now, once you collect that card, you'll be able to use the ability. But first, you have to determine the people who have not collected the card. Whoever has the most stars will be able to collect boons. Now, if you're using Ghost, and Ghost has more stars than the individual you're playing with, then the Ghost will be collecting the top or the bottom 2 left boons. Now, and then if the other player outbeats the Ghost, then they get to pick the boon that they want. Now, if you're playing a 3 or 4 player or more, then the way that the boons work is if whoever wins, collects it, and then next. But if you tie, then you get to pick the same boon, or if you get you get to pick one, and then the other person gets to pick a different boon from that card. Okay, so once that person collected that card, you can use the ability, and some of them are instantly in this turn. So once you use that ability, you're going to want to turn the card. The only way to awaken it from being exhausted is if the sphere marker is in the same icon as that card is, the one that's exhausted. Now, that only occurs when you first, before you even do your rest phase and go to the next icon. So whatever icon is at before the rest will determine if it awakens. All right, so the boons, pretty much there's several things you could collect in boons. You could collect points, you could collect telescopes, you could collect wisdom, which move up on your track, which allow you to collect more cards. At first, you only get 2 cards, so the more wisdom you collect, and you have to finish the card area that shows the wisdom, and until pretty much like if you want to have 3 cards, you have to have all 3 cards, and then like 1 at pretty much all the way to the end. So, and then you can also collect pouch tracks. Like I said, the pouch track determines how many stardust you get pretty much at the rest phase. You can also collect stardust, and then you also could do. There's also boons to awaken your cards that are pretty much exhausted, but it also is determined on the whatever the sphere marker is on. Okay, so now we're going to count the points. Once you've pretty much got to the game end, it's final scoring. So the way the score goes is the pouch track, the wisdom track, score for 1 for every 3 stardust left in your pouch, and then score 1 fame for every 2 you marked across the undiscovered pretty much constellation. Now, when you I forgot to mention, there's one thing when you rest in a 2-player game, the ghost will also do the you'll notice that there's like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and the water, fire, like the fire has 4. That's how many the ghost will mark in each constellation. And so it'll first pick a constellation that's pretty much doesn't have anything, and then a constellation that has the least amount. And there's a dream phase for turn sequence for a 2-player on the player aid, and then you just follow that, and that way you'll know what the ghost player does. Okay, so continue on with the scoring. So we did the pouch track, the wisdom, then we did the 3 stardust, the 1 fame for every 2, and then you also get points determined on your non-exhausted cards that you've collected, constellations. So they have to be non-exhausted. Then your final scoring. Now your final scoring is determined on the iconography at the top left of each constellation that you've collected. Now, if you go from X up to down, if you have 3 X's, you get 3 points. If you have 4 X's, you get 6 points. Now across, you get if you have 2 X's, you get 2 points. If you have 3 X's, you get 6 points, and if you have 4 X's, you have 11 points. So it's more beneficial to have the same iconography color to go across, because you get more points as opposed to going down. And then you count all those points, and that will determine the overall score of the game. That's pretty much all the rules. If I missed something, I'm sorry. And then now we're just going to do the review.
So what did you think?
I really like the design illustration, components. I like the little stardust. The cards are very well made. Also the tableau area. The pens work very well. The font's easy to read, and so I like the game end. Also, all the pretty much player aids are provided, so really good on the component quality. Also, the box as well. It's easy to store, so great in component quality. As far as replayability, high replayability. There's a lot of these cards. Also, there's different strategic ways that you can achieve each goal. And setup takes probably like 5 to 7 minutes. Tear down probably less because you're just bundling the cards and there's not that much components. So high replayability because and it's easy to teach. Very easy to teach. It's a 2.16 on BGG. I mean, literally, you could teach this in like 5 minutes or less.
It would take a little longer than that.
But 5 minutes or less. And then there's the mechanics of it. Really like the mechanics. It's simple, but yet very strategic because there's so many different avenues. And then there's also ways to block your opponent if you just think ahead a little bit. And then there's also ways that, the different point systems from, just here. There's I think like 4 different ways to score here. So very point style type of game. And it's a lot of strategy. So for me, overall total, I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. I really like the game. I think it's something that we'll play quite often. And this is, I've noticed that a lot of these style mechanics that we've enjoyed in the last few months from different games, they're a little bit similar, but just different enough. So really like this game, 9 out of 10, highly recommend.
So yeah, I really enjoyed this game as well. We played this actually a few days ago, so
yeah.
It's been a few days since we'd played it, so that's why I had a hard time remembering that final scoring card. But yeah, it's unique, and it reminds me. I know this kind of shows my age.
Way before my time.
This shows my age, but the Connect the Dots game I used to play with friends. This, we didn't have really that many video games and things like that. We didn't have the handheld video games.
Well, not back then.
We didn't have phones for sure. But it was the Connect the Dots game where you were trying to make the little cubes, and so it was the same type of strategy here. You're trying to mark the stars, the little circles, without hopefully making it too easy for someone else to just come in and finish that card off. So it's a very strategic in that way. You want to kind of leave a star here, maybe a star here, so hoping they won't pay attention and mark it, and then you could come in and swoop and grab that card, because unless they have a telescope, they're not going to get to mark a star there and a star there. But because even though you don't get the boons, when you collect the card, you do not get the boons. The only people that get the boons are the ones that help assist. So anyone that has any filled-in stars on there is going to get a boon. Of course, it's first, the highest amount gets to choose first. If it happens to be the dreamer, if they got the most, then you mark off these first 2. Those aren't able to be selected.
On the very left.
You'd have to select from these. But as you can see, each of them have different types of rewards. So there's always something that you would need on the bottom of those cards. So you always want to make sure you get at least 1 star marked on every card or more, but at least 1 so you can get a boon when that card is taken by someone. So it's a lot of just that kind of strategy where you're just, you don't want to spend all your stardust on 1 card, unless you can finish it, obviously, and basically make almost finishers for someone. You're going to kind of want to reserve them a little, get to at least where you could get to the grand star, so you're always progressing on this wisdom track, but at the same time holding some back so you don't have to keep resting so often. So it's a big time resource management in that sense, because you need to kind of balance that so you're not resting too often, but you're also trying to get your mark on all those cards at least. And of course, you definitely want to try to finish as many as you can, because those abilities are reusable over and over. You're refreshing the card during your rest phase. So yeah, we really enjoyed this game, and I like the theme of it. I like the artwork and the theme of this game. So yeah, I would give this a 9. I really enjoyed it, and we will definitely be playing this game again.
Oh yeah,
and it just came out last year, correct?
I think last year, or the year before.
Yeah, so
it's fairly new.
It's a pretty new game. So hopefully, our video helped you to decide whether this is something you would want to add to your collection. We're definitely keeping this in our collection, and we really, really enjoyed it. Did you have anything else you wanted to say?
No, highly recommend.
We will put the link in the description so you can check it out for yourself. I would highly recommend this as well. Hopefully our description of it will help you to know if this is, your type of game or not. So for us, this is totally our type of game, and we loved it. So thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a like. Feel free to leave a comment or a question. And we hope you're already subscribed. Thank you if you are. If not, please subscribe and click that little bell so you can get all of our notifications. We do put out quite a bit of content each week. So, and we have a lot of quick Kickstarters, the really good Kickstarters that we'll be covering this year. So we're excited about that. So thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you next time.